is when you can't let go of your house. All the memories just start flooding in and rushing back as you're moving through the closing process, and it's causing you to panic at the thought of letting go of the place that you built so many happy memories and the walls that you filled with so much love as a house became your home. Take a deep breath and let's talk this out together. My name is Andrew Finney, and my passion is helping you make sense of real estate. If you need help finding a top agent near you, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact info is below. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. All right, my friend, let's take a closer look at this and identify what is seller's remorse, what can be done to alleviate it, and what you should do right now if you're in contract. The first thing is, what is seller's remorse? Perhaps the best way to understand seller's remorse is exactly what you're feeling and experiencing right now. It's the panic, it's the anxiety, it's the feelings and sensations that you just can't let go of this home. You might be in tears right now thinking about the thought of selling your house. It's okay. What happens is sometimes people don't have clarity of why they were selling their home, or they thought they wanted to sell their home or simply test the market. And what ended up happening is it moved too fast for them to let go and make peace with selling their home. You might feel that way too, and it's okay. It is called seller's remorse, and it is something that you can recover from. The second thing is how to prevent seller's remorse. Now, there's a couple of different ways that we could look at this. The first one is something I always encourage people in practice to do before we list their home together. And that's number one, write down, quite literally, get pen to paper and write down the reasons why selling your home is important to you and the impact it's going to have on your life. Buying and selling a home is a major life decision. So both sides should be giving very careful consideration moving forward about why it's important for you to sell your home, what do you hope to achieve by selling your home, and identifying what is the replacement home going to look like. Is it going to be out of state? Is it across town? Are you upsizing? Are you downsizing? Are you just moving somewhere else because that's what you want to do? Or do you want to move into a retirement community? All of these things come up as very real questions. Write down the thoughts that you have right now about what's important to you behind selling your home. Are you simply testing the market? Because if that's the case, a trusted real estate advisor, a top agent, should probably not list your home if you're just testing the market. That's just being honest with you and being real. I wouldn't do it. We put money into it to list it and to advertise it and get you the most qualified buyers as possible. So why would any agent want to do that? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of their time. Why bother? So if that's the case, don't even bother with it until you're serious. When you're serious, that's when you want to put pen to paper, and that's when you want to visualize what success means to you in selling your home. Doing so will also assist you in getting very clear on the reasons why you're selling your home and why it's important to you. Now, that list is something that you want to keep with you at all times as you move through the selling process. You'll find it very beneficial to help to refer back to the reasons why you're selling and what's most important to you as you move through the closing process and the feelings and sensations of panic set in. The second way to prevent this is having the replacement home in mind. We talked about that just a moment ago. What happens in practice, especially when we're in a seller's market or a stabilized market, oftentimes sellers don't know where they're going to go or if there is another home for them that they want to buy. They just woke up one day and said, hey, you know, I've been thinking about selling my home and moving somewhere. I want a newer home. I don't like this about my house anymore. I love this about my house, but I want a newer home. And they really haven't talked with a trusted real estate advisor to play out this conversation about what's most important to them in a new home. So what happens is when you list your home, there's different approaches and different strategies. I have an entire playlist on my channel dedicated to the selling and buying scenario, going through various strategies and various phases that you might find yourself in if that's your case right now. That being said, being clear on a strategy, having a clear path forward will definitely help you in avoiding seller's remorse when you have your home on the market. There's nothing that can make you feel better if you feel like your house is being ripped out from underneath you and you have nowhere to go. That's definitely going to cause us a lot of panic and a lot of anxiety, and it's only natural that we do so because all of a sudden we're homeless. We go from owning a beautiful home to having no home, and that's not cool. So it's critically important for you to ensure that you are planning this out and taking time with your trusted real estate advisor. Ideally, the trusted real estate advisor you work with to list your home should also represent you in the purchase. This will make it much easier in the negotiations, and this will also make it much easier in trying to seam up your closing dates. For more information about that, check out my playlist about selling and buying a house at the same time so that you can make sure that you're doing the right thing for you and your family. Which brings us to point 3, and that's how a seller can cancel a listing. At some point, if you just decide it's too big of an impasse, you just can't let go, or things just aren't working, what are the recourses and what are the considerations you should make? Let's take a closer look at each of them. The first thing is understanding that your listing agreement is a binding contract between you and your real estate broker. At the same time, a lot of agents really do care about the people that they work with, especially if they're a true trusted real estate advisor. That being said, there are cases that even if we've explored all your reasons why and we've explored all your motivations behind selling a home, sometimes it's just not going to work out. In that case, a trusted real estate advisor will often just take a step back and say, you know, we're all people, let's go ahead and cancel the agreement. But it is a question that you would like to ask a trusted real estate advisor up front and understand what consequences might come as a result of that decision. The second thing to understand is that most listing agreements are what are called exclusive right to sell. Most trusted real estate advisors would never even consider doing what's called an exclusive agency because there is no guarantee that their work will be rewarded. Hence, exclusive right to sell, you're working with one trusted real estate advisor and they're working adamantly for you to get your home sold. That being said, if they bring you a full price offer that was acceptable to you and your list price, then what could happen is that you still might owe that real estate broker their commission because they have contractually performed their services for you. It is something that you'll want to have a conversation about with your trusted real estate advisor during your listing consultation time. Make sure that you're clear on all the ins and outs before you agree to work with an agent moving forward and that you both are on the same sheet of music going forward. Doing so will set you both up for success, whether you do move forward with selling your house or if you decide, hey, you know what, I do need to exercise that. There's been a major change in my life. There was a major change of heart in selling the home. I do need to exercise that option. By knowing what the options are, give you the power to make that choice. The third thing to know is that many trusted real estate advisors enjoy having a good reputation with you and with the community at large. What this means is that oftentimes we're all people. Things happen. We get it. We deal with people's emotions every single day. Helping people go through the home buying or the home selling process is like an emotional roller coaster. We understand if you just open up and share with us what's on your mind and what's in your heart. Having said that, more often than not, a trusted real estate advisor will say, you know, why don't we just keep in touch? And if you want to resume this conversation at some point in the future, we can do that. We can go ahead and cancel the listing contract and let's move forward together as friends and keep in touch. That's what most trusted real estate advisors are going to say that truly care about the people they represent, because that's exactly who we are. We care about the families we represent more than the commission, more than selling the house. We care about you, and we're simply in this business to help people get from point A to point B and help them achieve their dreams. The fourth thing is to also reach a compromise with your agent. One of those compromises are very simple. It's called withdrawing your listing conditionally. That condition being that if you chose to go back on the market in the next 6 or 12 months, you would agree to retain the services of the same agent that you're working with currently. Doing so makes the agent feel okay and that they weren't getting taken advantage of, and doing so gives you the option to go back on the market if later you get clear on the reasons why you're selling your home and you're ready to move forward. So the fourth thing that's probably on your mind is what happens if you're already in contract and working through the closing process. The first thing to know is there's actually a provision called a suit for non-performance towards a seller that a buyer can sue you if you don't move forward with the sale. At the same time, there have been some cases where that has actually happened and a judge has ruled in the favor of a buyer opposed to a seller, but in practice, many judges will just say, hey, you know, we can't force someone to sell their home. We can't force them out onto the street if they're not ready to move. At the same time, if you're in this position, what I would ask you to do is pick up the phone and talk to your trusted real estate advisor, talk to a broker if necessary, and also consider talking to a good real estate attorney near you that play out your options and see what is available to you. The second thing to understand is that buyers will retain the right to pursue you and sue you if necessary for any incurred and actual real damages. So this is where it becomes extremely prudent of you that if you are in the closing process right now and you're looking at backing out, you have seller's remorse, you changed your mind, life change, whatever the case may be, ask your trusted real estate advisor to get with the buyer agent and see what the buyers have paid for so that you can make them whole. Some of those things would look like the home inspection fees, any appraisal fees, any moving expenses that they may have incurred for storage or rentals, depending on how far along you are in the actual closing process. So you want to know what these costs and those fees are so that you can make them whole. In doing so, then the buyer that fell in love with your house that they wanted to make their own new home is able to go out with their full financial resources to find a new place to call home. And you'll have peace of mind in knowing that you did the right thing. The third thing to realize is that if you're in the closing process, both brokers have earned their commission and may be entitled to that commission on both the listing side and the buying side, which means that you may still need to be prepared to pay out the real estate commissions because both agents, both brokers, did their job. So be prepared for that and have clarity on that. Again, you need to talk to your trusted real estate advisor or a real estate attorney. That's a very good idea. The fourth thing is simply to remember that the home buyers are people too. Just like you, they fell in love with your house and they're going to be highly devastated and disappointed that they're not going to be able to close on the home. This becomes extremely frustrating to a buyer, especially if they were renting and they've already given notice to the landlord that they were moving out. It can put them into a really bad position that causes an ongoing wake of devastation in their life. So please be responsible whenever you get ready to list your home. Which brings us to the fifth thing. Always be clear up front why you're selling your home, why it's important for you, what your action plan is, and devise a strategy. Don't rush the process. When you invite a listing agent to come over to your house, it's absolutely okay to invite them out 6 months, 24 months in advance and let them know what your thoughts are so that you can begin your planning steps and also at the same time separating your emotional attachment to the home. So as a pro tip here, I'll share a personal story with you. Whenever I sold my first house that I bought in Las Vegas, it was something that was really hard for me because I absolutely loved that house. I had bought it. I had put so much sweat equity into the home. I did a lot of the stuff for the house myself. And of course, this is going back to before I was a trusted real estate advisor. That being said, I just poured my heart and soul. I did the renovations. I did the upgrades. I mean, I was in the attic, moving insulation around, adding insulation, doing home repairs across the property, stuff that you're probably doing too. So one of the things that I found helpful, in addition to having my written down list, hence why I shared that as a very smart tactic to use, is making peace with it. And when I say making peace with the house, I'm actually talking about quite literally. After the house has been vacated of your belongings and you've had it professionally cleaned, because after all, having it professionally cleaned is a polite and right thing to do for a buyer anyway, is to walk through the house one last time and tell the house thank you. Honestly, tell the house thank you for all the love, for all the memories, and everything that you have shared together during this part of your life. Doing so will help you have closure and help you have clarity moving forward. All right, my friend, I certainly hope that you feel much better after this conversation today. And now if you're wondering, can a seller back out after accepting an offer? Let's go ahead and talk about that next. And if you're thinking about putting your home on the market, let's get real about 3 questions you should ask yourself and know if you're ready to sell your house. Looking forward to our next conversation. We'll see you in a few.